Well, good evening, everyone. It is about 8:45 Central Time here on Tuesday evening. I wanted to do another video looking at the potential for some severe weather, not only on Thursday, but also it looks like there might be a little bit of a sneaky weather event here actually tomorrow. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Focus mainly on Thursday. I think that's the main risk, especially for Arkansas, Louisiana, Western Mississippi, and certainly a lot of Northeast Texas, including Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. That's going to be the main threat area as seen here on the screen, the day 3 from the National Weather Service. So again, this is talking about Thursday. And it looks like it might be even a pretty kind of almost all day type of a Thursday event, starting even earlier than you typically see. So we'll get into that a little bit. And then also want to talk about the chance, models kind of hinting at the potential of maybe a hailstorm or two, possibly like early morning rush hour here tomorrow morning. So that would be Wednesday. So do want to take a little bit of a look at that as well. So definitely would recommend paying attention to the weather. I've seen the National Weather Service in Fort Worth tweeting and kind of providing some updates. Certainly the news is starting to talk about this, but looks like severe weather could be in the cards the next 2 days, but especially here on Thursday. So this is the Storm Prediction Center Day 3 outlook. Again, this is looking at Thursday here. We can see kind of the main risk area really centered across, Northeast Texas, North Texas, kind of the bottom 2/3 of Arkansas, northern half of Louisiana, and a lot of kind of central and western Mississippi. So this is the main threat area here. Definitely looking at the opportunity for not only some pretty significant wind, hail, and also the chance of some tornadoes and possibly even some more longer track strong tornadoes. So definitely want to take a look at that. Again, let's look at tomorrow. So this is Wednesday. When we take a look at kind of the overall hail threat, looks like most of that's going to be centered over kind of the southern half of Arkansas here, but does extend back to the west here across the Metroplex and Northeast Texas. Certainly wouldn't rule that out. We'll take a little bit of a look at what the models are showing as well. But do want to take a look now at a couple model runs. Tonight's models just came in, looking at Thursday specifically. So if we kind of move forward to, I guess, let's see, maybe kind of midday, kind of the lunchtime hours here on Thursday. Do want to take a look at a couple things. First thing that we always tend to look at here is moisture. So we can see that pretty moist air mass going to be in place. We've got kind of mid to even upper 60s dew points across much of central and east Texas, almost getting close to 70 degrees here in southern Arkansas, northern Louisiana, much of Mississippi as well. So a pretty large warm sector of very moist air. So that's in place. We can also look at kind of our upper level winds. We can see this big trough here kind of digging in from the southwest, and we can see these brighter colors. Those are faster wind speeds. And so this is up in the atmosphere. These are 500 millibar winds. So we've got this big trough digging in, kind of moving across this direction with these increased wind speeds. So we have plenty of not only forcing in the upper atmosphere, but a lot of really fast winds up above the surface, which is important for severe weather. When we look at a little bit closer to the kind of the surface level, this would be called the lower level jet, 850 millibar winds. We get a little closer, this would be about 4 o'clock. We can see this big increase in these low level winds out ahead of that main trough out to the west, and pretty significant winds, again, over 40, almost 50 knots here. This is a little bit above the surface, but pretty low in the atmosphere. This is what you need certainly for some kind of turning winds with height and get those severe thunderstorms. So definitely it appears that that's going to be in place. It really kind of ramps up here as we get to around sunset here on Thursday. So again, definitely the wind speed, wind shear is in place. Another thing that we do always want to look at is kind of what that presence of instability is in the atmosphere. And so we can see kind of starting here around the lunch hour, do have the presence of instability here kind of along North Texas, even out a little bit further west. Definitely going to get some sunshine out there, but into kind of Northeast Texas, southern Arkansas here. When we move a little bit further, we can see that instability, it really does kind of set up here, really across kind of a lot of North Texas, Arkansas, Mississippi. This is going to be a warm front, kind of that warm, moist air that's going to be kind of lifting up to the north throughout the day. This is going to be where we see a good number of storms really kind of setting off. And then we can see that, again, kind of continuing to lift up and move a little bit further to the east as we go throughout the day. So we've kind of looked at some of those ingredients. We've seen that there's certainly ample moisture. We've got that turning winds, both the upper atmosphere with 500 millibars, lower level jet, lower wind. They're at the 850 millibars. And then we have this instability that's present. So we have really a lot of those ingredients that's necessary for severe weather. And so now let's look at kind of what the models, this HRRR model, kind of what this is showing. So again, we go kind of, this would be around the lunch hour here on Thursday. We can see that there's a good batch of storms kind of along that warm front area, that same area that we looked at with instability. We can see these storms, again, kind of around the lunch hour, starting to certainly get their act together. When we move forward, kind of, mid-afternoon, we can really see that these storms kind of ramp up. Again, similar areas there, even into kind of southern, southeastern Oklahoma. Pretty significant, little modeled cells, maybe a little bit of a line there. And so we can see definitely the potential for some significant weather. These storms would be capable really of not only wind, hail, but also a tornado threat as well. So definitely worth watching that. When we move a little bit further on in the day, we can start to see kind of here along kind of central Texas, kind of central North Texas, we see a little bit of a line. This is as the cold front pushes in from the west. We're going to see this line kind of light up along the dry line initially, and then this cold front pushing in. And then kind of as we progress forward, we can see that line really start to form all the way from really the hill country down here all the way up to the Red River area. And then this is going to gradually move to the east as we go kind of throughout the late afternoon, early evening, and then the overnight hours. And so we can see that this would be around sunset at 6 p.m. We can see that line progressing here and really approaching, kind of entering that Dallas-Fort Worth area here around sunset. And so we're still 2 days out. I wouldn't take this as a surety guarantee on the exact placement and timing, but I think there's enough of the ingredients here to be pretty certain that we're going to see severe weather. Now, there certainly still could be a tornado threat with these. I think it would be more of what's called a QLCS tornado threat. It's going to mean kind of embedded cells within this line that you could potentially see some tornadoes. Now, sometimes that can mean that they're more short-lived and weaker, but certainly can see some strong tornadoes. Sunday night we saw EF2 tornado in a line that went through the Norman, Oklahoma area. So pretty significant damage there. So definitely don't want to take that lightly. I think mainly what we'll probably see is a damaging wind threat with this line of storms. Certainly could have some hail in there as well. So looks like Thursday might be a couple different rounds early in the day, kind of that first line of storms really from Mississippi to North Texas, and then the secondary line that's going to impact the Dallas-Fort Worth area around maybe kind of sunset to a little bit after sunset in the early overnight hours. That gives us a look there at the ingredients that are there for Thursday. I guess the last thing we could do, we could check a sounding kind of over Dallas-Fort Worth here on Thursday night. A couple things that we can see here. Right here, temperatures at the surface, 70 degrees with a 68-degree dew point. That's very good environment, not only for severe weather, but also even potential tornadoes. This line between the dashed line and the red line, this would be all of that instability in Cape. We've got almost a little over 2,000 joules per kilogram of mixed layer Cape, so pretty significant instability in place. We can see these winds kind of changing direction with height out of the south, almost southeast at the surface, southwest above the surface, more westerly way above the surface. So we've got kind of that turning winds with height here, especially if you're looking at possible rotating storms and tornadoes. And we do have a little bit of curvature here in the lowest levels, not extreme here for Dallas-Fort Worth. Again, why I think that it's more of a kind of a line segment. Certainly could see some tornadoes if you get just kind of the right ingredients in the line, but more of a damaging wind threat likely. And so that's kind of what we're looking at here. Do want to take a look at Wednesday while we're looking at this. Let me look. Let me kind of go to kind of early morning hours. So this would be about 6 a.m. Not Tuesday, sorry. Want to look at Wednesday, so tomorrow morning. This looks at about 6 a.m. We progress forward. We get to about 7 a.m. here. Again, around 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., we can see kind of a couple hailstorms here, kind of north central Texas, getting into the Metroplex. This would be again somewhere around probably that maybe 7 to 10 a.m. time frame here tomorrow. We can see these storms just kind of slowly lifting up to the northeast. Sorry about that. Kind of up to the northeast, kind of from kind of that Brownwood area up across the Metroplex, moving to northeast Texas. So definitely it would be aware of that. Again, probably early morning hours to late morning with some of these storms. Could see an environment. Let's take a sounding here. Let's back up. Let's kind of take a sounding look at what the environment looks like. 68 degrees with 67 dew point. Not the same rotation. Again, not a huge curvature in the low levels. I think what we would be looking at here, more of a significant downpour, maybe a potential for some hail. We do have certainly instability that's present, so not a huge tornado threat tomorrow morning, but I would be watching for potential for some hailstorms, even kind of in those morning hours of tomorrow. So that'd be Wednesday morning. So again, hopefully this was helpful. Looks like we could be on tap for not only a Thursday severe weather event, but even tomorrow as well, especially kind of in the morning tomorrow, and then this stuff will lift up into Arkansas. Let me just kind of show that here towards the afternoon, kind of northeast Texas into Arkansas. This would be about 4 p.m. tomorrow. So it doesn't look like Dallas-Fort Worth other than tomorrow morning, maybe a quick kind of hailstorm, something like that. Not a huge tornado threat, and then kind of moving up to the northeast tomorrow. And then again, certainly looking at Thursday, kind of first kind of this area, and then also seeing a little bit later on, we kind of see that cold front / dry line really light up and then move kind of through Dallas-Fort Worth. So definitely looks like a potentially active next couple of days here. We've really seen, we had the severe weather up on Sunday, not as much here in Dallas-Fort Worth, but was up chasing that near the Memphis, Texas area. Had some pretty extreme wind and hail up there. Actually, there was a weather station that recorded 115 mile an hour wind gusts. So that was pretty crazy. Not quite that strong where I was at the gas station in Memphis, but still pretty significant winds with a lot of debris and things flying around, hail going through the air. So definitely made for a little bit of a crazy Sunday evening there, and looks like Thursday may be setting up for some more severe weather here closer to home. So hope this was helpful. Definitely stay weather aware, and everyone stay safe here in the coming days.